At some point in history, a human being looked at a dead body and thought something no animal had ever thought before. Not just that death happened, but that it would happen to them. That moment, that single thought changed our entire species forever, and scientists think they know exactly when it occurred. Let's start with what the evidence actually shows. Before 100,000 years ago, there is no record of burial anywhere on Earth. None. Our ancestors died the same way every other animal died. They fell. The group moved on. The body was left where it dropped. Death meant nothing. It was just the end of movement. Then something changed. In a cave in Palestine called Qafzeh, researchers found 27 human skeletons dating back exactly 100,000 years. They weren't scattered. They were placed. Deliberately, one was a child, buried with deer antlers laid carefully across its arms. Another body was covered in ochre, a red pigment that took real effort to find, grind, and apply. These weren't bodies that were disposed of. They were bodies that were honored, and you only honor something if you believe it still matters. That belief requires one thing, the understanding that you will die too. But here's what's fascinating. Scientists don't think this realization hit all at once. It came in stages. And the first stage wasn't grief, it was confusion. Chimpanzees, our closest living relatives, have been documented carrying their dead infants for days, sometimes weeks. A mother chimp in Zambia carried her mummified baby for 69 days before finally setting it down. She wasn't grieving the way we grieve. She didn't understand death was permanent. She just knew something was wrong. Something that used to be there was gone, and she kept waiting for it to come back. Your earliest ancestors were doing exactly the same thing, sitting near a body, waiting, not yet understanding why the person wouldn't move, not yet connecting what happened to them with what would one day happen to you. When that connection finally formed, it must have been one of the most destabilizing moments in the entire history of the human mind. Because here is what that realization actually means. It doesn't just mean you will stop breathing one day. It means every plan you make has an ending. Every person you love will either leave first or watch you leave. The voice inside your head that feels permanent, central, real, is temporary. Most animals cannot hold that thought. Their brains don't have the architecture for it. Ours did. And once we understood it, we could never unknow it. And here's the part nobody talks about. That knowledge should have destroyed us. By every evolutionary logic, an animal that fully grasps its own mortality should be paralyzed, anxious, unable to function. What is the point of hunting, building, loving anything if you know it all ends? But the opposite happened. In Blombos Cave in South Africa, researchers found evidence of symbolic thinking dating back 75,000 years. Engraved geometric patterns, shell beads strung into jewelry, pigment mixed in shells like tiny paint sets. None of this was survival equipment. It was meaning making. Humans who knew they were going to die started creating things that would outlast them. The psychologist Sheldon Solomon spent decades studying this. He called it terror management theory. The core idea is devastating in its simplicity. Human culture, all of it, art, religion, legacy, ambition, the desperate need to be remembered, is largely a response to the awareness of death. We build things and believe things and belong to things because it makes us feel like we extend beyond our own lifetimes. Every pyramid ever built, every name carved into stone, every child named after a grandparent, every religion that promises something on the other side. All of it is an echo of that one moment. The moment a human looked at a body and understood the body would one day be theirs. Researchers studying isolated communities across the world found that children grasp the permanence of death between ages 4 and 7. And in every culture, without a single exception, children at that age ask the same questions. Where did they go? Will I go there? Will you go there? Identical questions. Across every language, every continent, every era. The terror is built in. It always was. And so was the response. Humans reminded of their own mortality become more creative, more generous, more focused on meaning over comfort. Death doesn't just terrify us. It drives us. Your ancestors sat around fires 100,000 years ago, carrying the same weight you feel when you let yourself think about it too long at night. That same cold certainty that this ends. And they did what humans have always done with things they cannot change. They made it mean something. They buried their dead with red pigment and deer antlers. They carved symbols into cave walls. They told stories that gave death a shape, a reason, a place to go. We are still doing it. Every ritual, every religion, every monument, ever built is the echo of that first moment in a cave 100,000 years ago when a human looked at a body and thought, that will be me, and then got up and kept going anyway.